Yo, 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 yo. What is going on, COD Familia? It is your boy, BN, aka Mr. Kingdom Builder. And today, do I have a juicy one for you? However, it's going to be great because I'm excited to show you a different perspective and a different side than what we covered during the live stream on the whole TM cheating accusations against GG. I think you guys are really going to like this because it provides a little bit more context, a little bit of a historical reference as well. For things that happened in the past that are related to TA and TM. And then I'm also going to talk about why I think this is so scary for the game based on what happened. So let's start off first by summarizing. Quick summary is that GG had 6 or 7 flying celestial units. They were moving them in a very synchronized way, in unison, because they were also on voice call at the time. And TM, some members of TM looked at this and thought, oh, well, they must be cheating or using some type of like emulator synchronization or macros or scripts to do all of this. They reported to CoD to support, whether they included screenshots or videos, however many of them did. And then I don't know what the time delay was between when they reported or however many of them reported to then when the initial players started getting banned. But 4 of the players that were in that group got banned, right? That's what we were told. One player was unbanned, I think, in about 2 to 4 hours afterwards, and then another player was banned 23 hours afterwards, and the other 2 I'm unsure of. Later on, support then confirmed, I think this was about 24 hours or over 24 hours after the incident, after they initially banned, that they confirmed there wasn't anything wrong, right? There wasn't any kind of wrongdoings or cheating or anything that was happening. Let me point out the first big challenge, and I think objectively and respectfully speaking, this brings up a big worry. And the worry is, and I think it's just the elephant in the room, let's call it what it is this something where a number of people can just mass report someone or mass report a number of people? Like, what's to stop an alliance from taking 50 or 100 of their players and just mass reporting everyone from another alliance? In the absolute worst case scenario, let's say a war breaks out or the final zone opens, and let's say one alliance decides we're just going to mass report everyone and say that they're all cheating. Or maybe just mass report, maybe that's too conspicuous. Maybe we'll just mass report 5 or 10 or of their strongest players. And then support sees all these accusations that are coming in. What's to say that they don't automatically ban these people? And then they'll look into the situation. And then, because that's kind of what it sounds like what happened with the GG group, is that they were auto-banned. They decided, we'll ban first, look into it, and then figure out what we're going to do afterwards. And then they concluded that there wasn't anything wrong. So what's to stop this from happening again, but just on a larger scale? So, because then the second point that this brings up is, well, the worry is, are they doing due diligence before they ban? Or are they just banning and then doing the due diligence and then coming out? Because that's how it looked. This is exactly how it looked like what happened. And my hope is that that's not the case. My hope is that this is a one-off that's never going to happen again, and that any time they get an accusation that's made that would warrant a ban or a mute, that they will always thoroughly look into the situation before it's done. Because if they don't do that going forward, based on what has happened now, I can only imagine how negatively impactful that's going to be to the community and how much faith or any kind of goodwill that they're starting to recover a bit with the last update that dropped will just be completely lost. I mean, it is what it is, right? And again, that's, for me, if I'm looking out, if I'm on the outside looking in, that's how it looks. And again, I'm not going to show anything on screen as far as screenshots or anything. You know, I'm just going to give you the recount of the situation, or recounting the situation. And so then we get to the situation of, let me give you a little history lesson here. So for some of you that may not know, and this isn't necessarily, anything negative against TA and TM, but I do think it's important to understand that this isn't everyone, because I feel sorry. I do feel bad for the affected players in TA and TM that now are basically having for a second time something come to light that they did that is not being looked at as good. And the first one, not really as bad, I would say, as this one, because the first one, and I'm going to get to that in a moment, is something that a number of other alliances, not to say a lot of them, but some other alliances have done. And so I want to get, so the history lesson here is if we go all the way back to Season 2, which is where TA originated from, right? They weren't TA in the beginning. They were TA because there was a number of alliances in Zone 1 that ended up losing some fights, and they migrated, I believe it was over to Zoland or Forgotten Lands, one of them, and they formed TA. And then there was a situation, and I'm going to show this to you now, that occurred in Season 2 that I documented, and we'll give you guys a listen. So, yeah, this is obviously back when, I still had my little one, right? You can see the age there. But let's start this off with, I think it's here.
Traded or swapped, they promoted someone else to lead, who, from what they were saying, was a farmer alt account. And then that person who got promoted removed all of the EMP players from the alliance and started deleting I think they started deleting territory and anything else that they had mentioned. I don't know obviously how much that's happened, but you can see here that they're no longer on the boards. I don't even know where they are. I might have to go down pretty far to potentially find them. I might be able just to kind of type them in chat too as well. Again, maybe they deleted it. I'm not actually sure. Let's see if we can. Oh, you know what? I don't even think I can find them. Let's do this. Let's see if we can do it this way. Let's go Alliance, and then we'll go, I think it's Settings. Here we go, right? Here we go. Cool. So let's see if we can find them, because someone told me.
It's a good-looking man and baby.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so see, we can't even.
So, to pause it here, the summary is that there was, and we're going to get to that here in a moment, right? Let me fast forward so I can show you guys. So now we're going to go to 1752. Here we go.
Give you guys a little bit more information on the whole kind of EMP kerfuffle, which is probably a nicer way to put it. So yeah, now I want to point out, man, some rumors that I've heard, right? For those that might be curious, is and I'm gonna have to see here where
oh, actually, no, I'm sorry. This is a continuation. So the next one I have to do is 2440, I think.
TA, here we go. Oh, cool. They're right there at the corner. So, right, some rumors.
Here it is.
Here we go. TA did not buy TA in Server 2. He said he did betray EMP.
This is it.
Because he wanted to have a fair fight in Server 2. This is interesting, right? And he also said that TA, he said for the record, TA did not buy him or pay him anything. He said it was his own decision or of his own volition.
So basically what happened here is that those of you may remember Lenin, at a time, Leenon, I think was the name at the time. He was able to get access with a second account to become lead of EMP. He then went on to remove all the players and was deleting some territory. I don't know how much it was, obviously is indicated here. And you could see that they're not even on the list anymore. So I don't know if the alliance was deleted. I can't remember that far back, but I know at least those two things happened. And it delayed the fight that was happening going into Zone 3. As you can see, Zone 3 opened, EMP betrayed, right? And this was all under the guise of that Lena was saying, well, he just wanted a fair fight going in. I mean, bear in mind, this is like really bad. I mean, this, if you really want to consider something that happened that I would categorize as an actual, like, legitimate, full-on betrayal, I mean, this is it at its core, right? It wasn't like Lincoln had just joined. He had been with the alliance with EMP for a while, from what I understand, and then this happens. And so, because of that, this was something that I also heard that Junie at the time, who was leading TA, had offered like $400 or $500 to lean in to do this. Right, to do these actions, or to give him access or someone access to that second account that he was able to put in his lead. However, again, as Lenin said, he mentioned that did not happen, or he didn't accept any money, right? So this occurs, and bear in mind, this is TA doing this. And then you kind of fast forward to the situation now, and you're like, okay, well, now TM, right? Again, not the same alliance, even if some of the players may be moved over, and they're just kind of split between the two. Now you have this situation that happens, and it just makes you wonder on okay, well, is this the rap that they're getting, right? Is this the kind of negative publicity that the TATM group really wants? Do they want to have more of these things happening? Because when something big like this happens, if there is history, you can point to that. And you could say, well, look, this is something that happened back then where they were willing to get ahead. And, bear in mind, this is a lot different than you getting access to an R5 as an R5 in an alliance and you just don't do anything, right? Or you just don't allow that group to push, right? I mean, or again, you just kind of hold it hostage and you force people to leave. You actively remove people. You actively remove territory, right? And some might just argue and say, well, boss, what else are you going to do? I mean, that's a good point too. It's especially if you're the opposition. I get it. However, right, that I think is somewhat of the unfair rap sheet that they may get. And that's why I was saying earlier, it's unfair, I think, to some of the players who are in those alliances where you have decisions that are being made by management and any other involved parties, or I should say up to all management in both the alliances, and then up to any potential contributing members that are again going through with these actions and how it reflects for members that are in there. Because what's to stop players from looking at those that are in TA and TM and documenting it and making a list and be like, well, these people stayed in there, after all this stuff happened. And bear in mind, that can be said about other alliances as well for other situations that have played out. But that to me, I think is unfortunate, and I feel for the players who did nothing wrong or who weren't a part of any of this. Of those two alliances, right? And again, I hope that they don't get any type of slack put onto them. But yeah, I guess in conclusion, to me, that's just the thing that really worries me, is I hope this isn't something that's going to set a really bad precedent for let's be honest, how easy it was for a number of players in the alliance to report a number of players in another alliance, and then how effortlessly they got banned. How it appears to be that there wasn't a form of due diligence that was applied prior to the banning, and then it was done after the fact, and then in conclusion they were unbanned, which to me is just a backwards way of doing it if that is true for how it played out. With that in mind, again, my hope is I just think we should always expect to do better, to be better, and to hold ourselves to a higher standard. With that in mind, I want to know what you guys think. So let me know. Again, for those of you that may or may not have been familiar or aware of the TA situation in Season 2, does that make you look at TA and TM a little bit differently now? Do you think the context matters? Or no, hey, it's separate situations. They're isolated, right? They're not really connected. And then your thoughts on, hey, how do you feel about how things went down? Right? How, if something else happens where there isn't a form of due diligence or some form of professional courtesy and care that's taken before an action is implemented, right? How would that make you feel, right? Especially if it was to your alliance or to people you knew, right? Let me know anything and everything in the comments down below. This is a wild one, to say the least. And, yeah, that's going to be it for me. As always, until next time, I'll catch you later.